Hi, and welcome to the Beginner's Guide to WordPress. My name is Rod Martin, and I'll be your instructor for this course. In this first part of the course, I want to talk about WordPress, what it is. We'll get you set up and installed on a web server, and then we're going to focus immediately on content, because WordPress's strength is its amazing ability to create really great looking content. Well, WordPress is open source software that you can use to create a beautiful website, blog, or app. It's been around for a number of years. You can see some of the really great designs here at WordPress.org, as well as download the software, and we'll do that in the next video. WordPress is trusted to run 32% of the entire internet. That's not 32% of content management sites. That's 32% of the entire internet, from hobbies to huge news sites. And here's just a few of them right here. You can click here and discover more sites built with WordPress if you want. Well, WordPress comes with some amazing features. Customizable design, it's search engine friendly out of the box, it's responsive out of the box. You have some powerful media management tools, it's accessible, great security. You can manage it from any device. And there are over 45,000 plugins that you can use to make your website do whatever you need it to do. WordPress is surrounded by a huge community, and they are all volunteers. Open source software is fueled by the volunteer community around it, and WordPress has one of the best. You can find a local community here at WordPress.org as well. And then there's lots of tutorials to get you started with WordPress. Of course, this tutorial is hopefully the only one you'll need. And so as we wrap up this quick introduction, we're going to install WordPress, get you set up, go over the dashboard and some introductory screens, and then we'll focus in on creating fantastic content. Before we get started, I want to thank our good friends over at Glowhost for supporting and sponsoring these videos. Glowhost offers WordPress hosting from the smallest blog to even the largest sites. They're over at glowhost.com. And just to say thank you for watching this video, we've got a coupon which will give you 60% off your first invoice. I should point out that the longer term orders save the most money with this coupon. So if you purchase a 1-year subscription, well, that's 60% off your entire first year versus just 60% off 1 month. So again, thank you to our good friends over at Glowhost for providing these videos and giving you the opportunity for a great deal. Installing WordPress at a hosting company is actually really simple. Once again, our good friends over at Glowhost offer some really great hosting for your WordPress site. I'm going to click on Elastic Sites Hosting. This is probably their most flexible choice. It allows you to have unlimited sites on a VPS-like system for about $25 a month. Now, that may seem expensive, and they do have cheaper options, but this is a really great plan. If you're only going to manage one site, you can get this great hosting for $14. But at $25 a month for unlimited sites, it's a really good deal. You can see all of the options here that are available. You'll just click Order Now, register a new domain, or tell them you've already got the domain. Click Continue, put in your payment information, and in just a few minutes you'll get an email that'll get you all set and on your way. Follow all of the instructions in the email, and then head over to your control panel. All right, so I've logged into my cPanel here at Glowhost, and they give us just the most easy way to install WordPress. Yes, you can do it manually, but why do it manually when they provide a fantastic script right down here under Apps Installer for WordPress? Just go ahead and click that once. And Glowhost is going to present us with a screen that just gives us some good information. I'm going to go ahead and click Install Now. You'll notice it's the most up-to-date version. And since this is a demo account, I'm going to leave this information here, but I'll put it in a different directory I call it WordPress 5. We'll leave the site description the way it is. And we'll definitely change this password, making sure it's strong. Here under the advanced options, you can change the database name and table prefix. You can also enable the auto upgrades, which actually I suggest you should do, but we'll leave it off for now. And we'll just leave all of this at the defaults. I'm also going to just install the default themes rather than choosing one here. And then I'm going to put my email address in here. So it's going to let me know when this is done. Click Install. And literally, that's all you need to do. And it's done. So if I click on the URL right here, there is my brand new WordPress site in almost no time at all. As I said earlier, you can do this the manual way, but Glowhost gives you the option to do it so much easier using their installer. Let's go ahead and log in. Go ahead and log in with your credentials. This is the WordPress dashboard on a brand new installation. So let's take a quick peek and see what's going on. Across the top, we've got some links to WordPress documentation and WordPress.org, a link to this site with a visit site link that'll let us take a peek at our front page. Coming back, we can go straight to dashboard, themes, widgets, or menus. Any system messages, and then a link to make new posts, media, page, or users. Over here at the top right, I've got my own profile information and the ability to log out. And then I've got some screen options here. Out of the box, they show you everything that's going on. If I'm not interested, for instance, in the welcome message, well, then I can just remove it there. But we'll take a look at that in just a minute. If I'm not interested in WordPress events and news, again, I can just uncheck that. And you can see that as I check and uncheck these things, then they disappear off my dashboard. Well, we'll leave them all turned on for a moment more. There's also a help menu here that takes us to all of the documentation over at WordPress.org. Well, as you noticed, this is the welcome message, and it gives us some tasks that we can do right off the start. You can customize your site, write your first blog, view your site, or manage widgets, etc., etc. You can also dismiss it right there. At a glance, gives me a quick peek at what's going on my site. I have one post, one comment, one page, and I'm using the 2019 theme. Lastly, let me point out that these are collapsible, draggable, droppable, and rearrangeable. So I can move that back over here, move that down there, take activity, put it up there, and take the WordPress news and put it over there. And instantly, I've got a new dashboard. When you add new features to your WordPress site via plugins, you might find some other dashboard widgets here that you can use, rearrange, or even hide if you want, to make the dashboard area do exactly what you need it to do. Finally, over here on the left, you have your main menu. Dashboard itself. The updates link will tell you if there's any updates to plugins or themes. Posts, media, pages, comments. We're going to touch on all of these in upcoming videos. You can collapse this menu, but for now, since we're beginners, I encourage you to leave it so we can find what we need as quickly as possible. That's the WordPress dashboard. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to create WordPress posts. WordPress started out as a blogging platform. And so when you created a blog post, it was like creating an online journal, and the post itself was simply an entry in that journal. We're going to be creating a site called Wordville today, and as we go through, we'll be adding new items of interest, say a news section. And if you think about it, a news item has a title, a date, and some content. Well, that's just like a blog post. And so what you'll find is a lot of your work is going to be done here in the posts section, especially as you begin your WordPress journey. Here on the Post menu, I've got All Posts, Add New, Categories, and Tags. We'll be looking at categories and tags in an upcoming video. But for now, if I click on All Posts, you'll see there's the Hello World, which is the standard post that comes when you install WordPress. I can add a new post by clicking in one of several different areas. I can add new post here. I can click Add New Post here, and I can also add a new post here. It all goes to exactly the same space. So I'm going to go ahead and click Add New. And we have a brand new editing experience here in this new version of WordPress. The name of the project that brings this editing experience to us is Gutenberg. You don't need to worry about that, except to know that Gutenberg has completely changed how we create posts and pages in WordPress. It's a drag and drop block editor that allows us to really add some sophisticated layout right within a post or a page. Up here at the top, we have some tips, and I'm going to leave those on for now because these tips are really helpful. This is the Welcome to the Wonderful World of Blocks. We click the plus button to add a new block, and they're available for all kinds of content, including text, headings, images, lists, and a lot more. And indeed, you'll be amazed to see what this new editor can do. Once I dismiss that tip, you'll see here we've got a title and we've got one block where we can add some text and of course some images and other things over here. Let's go ahead and add the title. Welcome to Wordville. This is our first post on our new WordPress site. As I was typing, you probably saw that there was no WYSIWYG editor or no help there. As soon as I hover out and come back over, I've got a new WYSIWYG editor where I can change the block type, left, center, right, justify, bold the text, italicize, create a link, and do strike through. If I click on these three dots, you can see that I've got a bunch of other options here to hide the block settings, duplicate, insert before or after, edit it as HTML, add to reusable blocks. One of the great new things in Gutenberg is that these blocks are actually reusable across different areas of my site. And I can even remove the block completely. As I type that in, you'll notice over at the side here, the definition for this block. It's a paragraph block where the font size is normal. I'm not using a drop cap, but I could. I have color settings and advanced settings where I can add a CSS class. Up here at the top, it automatically saves a draft for me on a regular basis, as well as I have the preview and publish buttons, and the ability to hide the sidebar as well by clicking on the gear. When I click on the three dots over here on the right, I have the ability to put the toolbar up in the top region next to the Add Block section. Spotlight mode shows me which block I'm working on. And finally, full screen mode gets rid of all the distractions so I can work on my post. Unchecking each of these takes me back to the standard layout. Down here as well, I have a visual editor, or I can enter a code editor, which allows me to use standard HTML. For now, I strongly recommend you stick with the visual editor. It's going to help you out tremendously. Finally, if I click on Document, I have the visibility settings as well as the publication settings. When I click Publish, it'll be visible immediately. Push this to the front page, or have pending review where an editor can come along and make sure everything's right before it gets published. On the right-hand side, I have various publication settings as well as the category, any tags I want to add, a featured image, an excerpt, and any commenting settings that I might want to update. In the next video, I'm going to come back and we're going to talk a lot more about blocks and Gutenberg and how you can build really sophisticated posts. But for now, let's keep it simple. Go ahead and click on Document, and let's push this to the home page and click Publish. And WordPress is going to ask just to make sure, am I ready? And I'm going to publish. If I click on View Post, it's going to take me to the post on my site, the title, when it was published, and all of the details about it. In this video, I want to talk about this screen. This is called the Posts Admin Archive, and it lists all of the posts you have on your WordPress site. We have a title, the author, categories, tags, comments, and date. You can sort by date or title just by clicking on it. And you can edit, quick edit, trash, or view any post just by hovering over it. If you click on an author, well, then you can see all of the posts by that author. Similarly, all of the posts in a particular category. Up at the top, we've got a search bar, and this gets really helpful if you have a lot of posts on your site, as well as bulk actions, edit, and move to trash for any selected posts. We'll talk about that in just a minute. You'll notice also here we have screen options at the top that allow us to choose the columns we're going to show. If this is your blog and you're the only author, well, then you might want to get rid of the author column. It makes no sense. You can change the number of items per page, and so if you're doing bulk actions, for instance, it might be worth increasing this number. But be careful, if you increase it too much, you might be asking for too much information at once. The page will time out and you won't get what you're looking for. If that happens, just change the number back to a lower number and you'll be good to go. You can also change the view mode, whether you want it to be a list or an excerpt view. That gives you just a little bit of an excerpt on the archive page. I'll switch that back. Lastly, these links here allow you to see all posts, all published posts, and all posts that have been made sticky. If I select a couple of posts, I can perform bulk actions, whether that be editing them or moving them to trash. If I select edit and click apply, well, then I can make changes to the author, commenting, status, whether they're sticky or not, as well as update their category via these bulk actions. That will save you a ton of time. I can also move a number of posts to the trash if I need to. I can also filter by month or category. So this admin archive page is really helpful in managing your posts. As I mentioned, when you hover over a post, you can edit, quick edit, trash, or view. If I quick edit, it takes me to the quick edit page where I can update the title, slug, date, password, make it private, change the categories, update the tags, allow comments and pings or not, change the status, and change whether the post is sticky. If I make any changes, of course, I can click Update. Using bulk actions, I can even trash everything, and you'll see that I have no posts left. Now there's an undo button here, which is good, or I can even go to trash and restore it. I'm just going to click undo, and then I'm going to trash the Hello World post that came with WordPress. So now I have one published and one trashed. If I go into my trash, again, I can restore it or delete permanently. A post that's in trash does not appear on your website. Now let's take a look and see what the post looks like on the front of the site. By default, WordPress will list our posts in post date order on the front page. We have our title, our introduction to our text, and all of the publication settings, as well as an edit button because we're logged in. Down here towards the bottom, I have recent comments, categories, recent posts, archives, and some metadata. These are widgets that we'll look at in just a bit. Right here is the search bar, and if I type in Wordville, of course, it's going to find my post because it's got Wordville in the title. Over here on the right, as I mentioned, we've got recent posts. I can click on any post and it'll take me to it where I can leave a comment if comments have been enabled. In WordPress, this is called a single because it's a single item or a single post. Now you have the option to leave a comment. Normally it would ask for a name, but because we're logged in and our comments will be approved automatically as administrators, we can just leave a comment. This is a great post. Post the comment, and you'll see that the admin has entered in a comment. Now that I've left a comment, you'll note under recent comments here, admin has left a comment on Welcome to Wordville. Once again, the great thing about WordPress is that all of this will happen automatically. You don't actually have to update any of these widgets yourself. In this video, we're going to take a deeper dive into the text editor that comes with WordPress. So go ahead and click on Edit next to your Welcome to Wordville post. And remember, we have two blocks here. We have a title block and we have a paragraph block. Now, there are a ton of different block types that come with the layout and editor with WordPress. When you click in the title block, you're given a quick peek at the permalink that can be changed under Settings and Permalinks if you want to change how those actually work. If we click there, you'll see that we can choose a plain setting, a day and name setting, month and name numeric. Honestly, I almost always just leave it as post name unless I want to add the category in before the post name. And in that case, I can do this. I can click on category and then post name, save my changes. And now when I come back up to my post and take a look at the permalink, you'll notice it's /uncategorized /welcome to Wordville. So in this case, I want to make sure I keep my categories pretty straight. It's up to you and depending how you're building your site. We're going to talk more about categories in an upcoming video. When I click, I can update the text. And again, this is a header block. I also have a paragraph block. Now, when I hover over that, it tells me here on the right that this is a paragraph block. And when I click in it, my WYSIWYG editor shows up. Now, you might be wondering, well, where's all the functionality of some of the more robust WYSIWYG editors that are out there? Well, WordPress feels like this is all you actually need because of the new layout builder and the ability to create blocks with very specific content. So this is a paragraph block, and this is all we need. Well, editing this is simple. Again, I can just highlight and bold and italicize the word WordPress. No problem. I can center this entire paragraph. I can even change the block into a different style, and we'll talk about that in just a minute. One thing to remember is that you can't mix block types inside of the same block. So this is a paragraph block. That's the kind of block it is. If I want to add, say, a heading block here below, well, it's really simple to do. I can come up and click Add Block. The most used blocks are here, but of course, if I scroll down, all of the block types are listed. We'll cover those in the next few videos. For now, I can just add a heading block, and it's going to ask, do I want an H2, H3, or H4? These are in declining size and styles. So an H2 is usually bigger than an H3 and an H4. By the way, all of this is determined by your theme, which I'll demonstrate in just a moment. This is an H2 block. And now it's below my paragraph block. I can simply move this by clicking the arrows to move up or move down. You'll note that after I clicked and added a heading block, it automatically adds a paragraph block for me. That's really, really helpful. And I can start to type. And you'll notice that option that was on the right is now gone, but I can change it to a block quote or a list or back to a paragraph, pre-formatted or even verse. Whatever you decide, you can easily go back and forth depending on what you want and how you want it to look. Coming back up to the top bar here, this is of course where I add blocks. I can undo, redo, get information about the content structure of my post, as well as navigate quickly to different sections of my post as well. Really, really helpful. Now you'll notice I'm working in block mode here. If I click on document over here, it takes me back to my standard document settings or post settings that I can then change. Each time I click on a block, well, you'll notice that there are settings specific to that block over here on the right that I can easily and quickly change and get it just the way I want. You'll note that the WYSIWYG editor changes depending on the block type. But if I click on the three dots here, I can hide the settings, I can duplicate the block, I can insert a block before or after, I can go to HTML mode to edit the HTML, and I can add it to reusable blocks. This is a really cool feature that allows me to build up a block library that I can pull into any post I want at any time. And of course, I can remove the block. Well, this is just a quick introduction to the layout and block management system in WordPress. We're going to dive into all of the details in the next few videos. I mentioned in the previous video that we can change our permalink to include the category of our posts. Now again, that's totally up to you. It depends on the kind of site you're building. If you're building, say, a news site for Wordville, well, then you might want to have the word news here before the actual post name. Setting up categories is really simple. Head over to Posts and Categories, and you'll see we have an uncategorized category. Adding a new one is really easy. Just give it a name, say news. The slug is what appears in the URL. So again, this is usually lowercase and contains letters, numbers, and hyphens. I like to keep it as simple as possible. That way, my URLs are really friendly. There's no parent category in this particular case. I can add a description. This is the news category, and click Add. Simple as that. I can create a nested structure as well. So for instance, let's say we had some attractions in Wordville. We might have a main category called attractions. We might have a subcategory called children's attractions. So I'm going to call it children. So now it would be wordville.com/attractions/children/ the title of the post. The parent category then is attractions. And I'm going to add a new category, and you'll see that it is now indented and under attractions. And so now this is a child category of the main category or the parent category called attractions. You can build out an entire structure like this, adding as many categories as you want. If you delete a category, it doesn't delete the posts in the category. Any post that might be assigned to that category would then go to the uncategorized category. One of the things I like to do is change uncategorized to, say, general. Just in case I actually have some, say, general category type posts. And so now that's general. And you'll note that even though I've updated that category, WordPress knows that. So anything that's removed would be automatically assigned to the general category. So adding categories is simple. Let's talk about changing our posts. Well, it's actually simple as well. I can do it through bulk actions if I have more than one. In fact, let's just do that since that's what we have. I'm going to edit and apply, and I'm going to change all of these posts to the news category and click Update. Now you'll notice I've got it in general and news. That's not really what I wanted. So I'm going to click Edit, come down to Categories, and uncheck General. It's as simple as that. So adding categories, managing categories, adding posts to categories, all really simple with WordPress. In this video, I want to talk about tags. Tags are another way to organize your content like categories, but just a little different. While categories give you an organizational structure to your site, tags allow you to create links to content that might not necessarily fit into actual categories or organizational structure, but you want people to be able to find them. So I've got a new post here on the site. Movie night in the park this Tuesday will feature The Princess Bride on the big screen. Bring some chairs, some popcorn, and the kids for this fun time together. Well, the block is set with a title and a paragraph like we did in the other post. But now when I click on Document, I've added a few categories. I'm going to put this in the Events category. But maybe I don't want to have a category called Movies, but I still want people to find this content and be able to group this content in a simple way. So I'm going to click on Tags, and I'm going to put in a tag called Movies. I can separate them by comma, Family Night, and you'll see every time I insert a comma, it records that new tag for me. And when I click Publish, it gives me the post address, and I can go and view the post. Now you'll notice down here below the post now I have my tags. If I click on one of them, it takes me to a tag archive page for Family Night that would list all of my family nights in publication date order. So tagging is really, really helpful. If I head back over to my dashboard and come to Posts and click on Tags, you'll now see I have new tags that have been created on the fly, and they're both listed in one post. Just a word about tags. Personally, I like to create my tags here and let people choose them rather than always adding new tags. The Tag Manager is fantastic because it prevents all kinds of typos. So let's say now I've got this tag in here and I create a new post. Another movie night in the park. And let's say this time we're going to show Forrest Gump. Of course, we add a lot more information there. If I click on Document and I click on Tags, as soon as I type a couple of letters in the tag, it's going to give me the option to select it. So now I'm not liable to have any typos. The tagging system in WordPress is really great. As I mentioned, gives people just another way to find all of your content. So if I now click on Movies, you'll see I've got those two posts that have been tagged with movies in a nicely ordered list by publication date and time. In this video, I want to dive a little deeper into the commenting capabilities of WordPress. If you've ever seen a WordPress site, you probably know that you can leave comments on some of the posts or pages. Again, this can be turned on or off depending on the kind of site you're building. One caveat here is comments are great traffic drivers to your site, but they can also become a mess if you don't pay attention because people just like to be silly. So let's talk about the commenting system in WordPress. I'm going to head back over to my dashboard and I'm going to click on Comments. You'll remember from a previous video, I created a comment on our Welcome to Wordville post, and you can see here that I have the ability now to manage that comment. Whether I want to reply as an administrator, edit it, tell WordPress that it was spam and so block me for later, or trash the comment. I can even unapprove it. Administrators are approved by default, and we'll take a look at that in just a moment. I can turn comments on and off by post pretty easily. If I come to another movie night in the park and click Edit, click on Document, scroll down to Discussion, I can turn off commenting for this particular post. I can turn it off site-wide as well, here under Settings. But let's say at Wordville, we want to allow comments on our events and on our attractions. So I'm just going to go and turn that back on. If I'm on the post itself, I can of course leave a comment, which I did before. This sounds like a lot of fun. And my comment is posted once again because I'm logged in as the administrator. Well, what if I'm not logged in? When I'm not logged in, WordPress will ask me for my comment, but it'll also ask me for some distinguishing information. So I'm going to leave another comment, maybe even asking a question so that others can answer. Is the park really a good venue for watching movies? And I'll put in my name, Billy, and a fake email address. And I'm not going to put in a website, although I could. You'll note that the required fields are name and email. And I'll post a comment. Right now, comments must be approved before they show up here. Well, let's head back over. And now on the comments link, I see I have one unapproved comment. And here it is. You can see by the highlighting. As an administrator, I can approve it. I can reply, quick edit, call it spam, or send it straight to trash. When I approve that comment and hit refresh on my incognito window where I'm not logged in, Billy has a comment, and now I can click reply. Once again, it's asking me for information because I'm not logged in. If I want to cancel my reply, well, pretty simple. I can just click cancel. Let's go ahead and, as a logged in user, reply to Billy's comment. When I click reply, yes, it's an amazing place to watch movies. You'll note that my comment is indented as a reply to Billy's comment. And this is something that's really, really fun in WordPress. It allows you to build up entire conversations, and people will do this. Now, one note of caution, once again, you have to keep track of this. This isn't something you can just turn on and forget about, because unfortunately, some people just like to be irresponsible. So if you're going to leave commenting on, it can drive a tremendous amount of traffic to your site, but it's a two-edged sword. You'll need to make sure that you manage it. Really simple to do though, as we saw, once again, dashboard, comments, and you'll see all of the comments that are being created on your various posts. You can see whether it's a reply to somebody or a top-level comment. And as with posts, you can perform bulk actions to unapprove, approve, mark as spam, or move to trash. So managing your comments is actually pretty simple with WordPress. In the next few videos, we're going to take a deeper dive into the new block layout tool and editor that comes with WordPress. This is incredibly exciting. It's robust and a lot of fun to use. So by the end of these next set of videos, we'll have a brand new layout with video, images, lists, all kinds of things that will demonstrate the new block layout features of WordPress. All right, so we're in our Princess Bride movie night at the park post, and up here we've got our add block. So when I click on this, I can search for a block, but I'm just going to quickly take us through all of them. This is the most used one, paragraph, heading, image. This list will change as you use the blocks in different ways. So you actually might be seeing different ones on your screen right now. When I click on common blocks, you'll see paragraph, heading, image, list, quote, cover, video, gallery, and audio. This video is for a video that's hosted on your site, not like something for YouTube. We'll cover that one in a minute. Under formatting, we're able to add verse, add a block with visible code in it. We can even bring up a classic WYSIWYG editor that gives you the more classic look and feel of a WYSIWYG editor. It's nice to have that option if you want, but I really like the new editor a lot more. You can add a custom HTML block, a pre-formatted block, a pull quote, and even a table. Stay away from tables if you can, simply because everything in WordPress is responsive by design. Coming down, you'll see that we can add buttons, columns, a page break, a read more, and some spacer around our formats as well. Using the new block system, you can even add your widgets with shortcodes, categories, even the latest post widget right within inside a post itself. And there are times where you might want to do that. And finally, embeds, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, other WordPress posts, SoundCloud, Spotify, Flickr, Vimeo, Animoto, CloudUp, Funny, or the list goes on. As you can see, it's really incredible what you're able to embed inside of a post using the new block system. This is really, really exciting. So with the overview from the last video, let's dive into adding blocks and taking a look at all of the features available in the new WordPress block and editor layout tool. I'm going to click Add Block. I'm going to skip past most used for now because this list is going to change, as I mentioned a moment ago. Under Common Blocks, we have Paragraph, Image, List, Heading, Cover, Quote, Audio, Gallery, and Video. This video is not the same as a YouTube video I mentioned before. So we've tried the paragraph one already. Let's go ahead and add an image block. And as soon as I click on that, it lets me choose from my media library, upload, or insert from a URL. This is a good time to talk about the media library. When I click on media library, I'm taken to all of the images that I've uploaded so far into my WordPress site. When I click on one, I'm given the URL, the title, and a caption if I want, and then some alt text. I'm going to encourage you always, always, always use your alt text. So we've used the one of Wesley and Buttercup for our featured image. Let's go ahead and use the bad guys image. And you'll see that it inserts it really nicely. We can add a caption here as well. The bad guys. And depending on your theme, you're able to manipulate this image in a number of ways. You'll notice over here on the right, I've got my image settings here, the alt text, large, medium, or thumbnail. The image dimensions, I can tell it what percentage that should be. I can even link it to something. But what's even more interesting over here is that I can left justify, center justify, right justify, or fully justify, which will blow it up to 100% of the available width. Now this is really critical. A lot of this depends on the theme. I even have full width, which works with this particular theme. If you're following along with me, go ahead and do that and click Update. And then view the post. You'll remember we saw this earlier. And now that picture is the full width of my browser. Now that's not going to work on a different theme. Let me demonstrate. I click on Wordville and Themes and choose 2016, which is an older theme, but a lot of themes have the widgets in the sidebar hard-coded like this. Now when I go to Movie Night in the Park, you'll notice that my featured image is now inside of the post itself, not in the background. The publication information's here on the left, and the image is no longer full width because I've got my widgets here and my publication information here. So all of that relies on the theme and how it lays out your posts. That's really for another video, but I wanted to demonstrate it here right now. I'm going to switch back to 2019. And it's just that simple. Your entire site changes with just a couple of clicks. Pretty awesome. Let's edit that post again. And we've got our image. I'm going to bring it back to full width just so we can work a little bit easier. Now, if I add another block under, once again, Common Blocks, you'll see a list, a heading, cover. Interestingly enough, a cover is very similar to an image, except it puts the image in the background and allows you to have text overlaid. In fact, I can do that right here. I can transform this image to media and text. Or I can transform it to a cover. And now write a title over top. And just as easily transform it back. This is really an amazing capability. I can even transform this to a gallery. And now it's asking me to upload other images. Every time I transform it, I just have to put my caption back in. Okay. Looking again at the common blocks, let's go ahead and add a heading called Cast and Crew. And then let's add another common block for a list. And I've just pasted the 3 of the actors in here. We'll do more with this one in just a few moments. If I add another block, once again staying with our common blocks, I can add a quote just so we can see what it looks like. One of the greatest movies ever made. And the citation, Rod Martin. There we are. One of the greatest movies ever made, and truly it is. So these are some of the common blocks. In the next video, we'll cover the next section. In the meantime, click Update and click View. And here's our post, looking gorgeous. We'll continue this in the next video. So we've looked at common blocks. Let's look at formatting. We've got code, classic, verse, custom HTML, pre-formatted, pull quote, and table. These are the kinds of blocks you're probably not going to use very often, although custom HTML can be really handy. The classic block does exactly what it sounds like. So I'm going to click on classic and click on it, and you'll see that it's the old style WYSIWYG editor and basically gives us complete control over all of the text the way we maybe used to have it. And this might be what you're used to seeing. Personally, I prefer the new one because it limits what I can do and gives me a great deal of specificity on the block that I'm editing. There's time and place for everything though, and you may want to try this out. I'm going to go ahead and remove that block. Another one you might want to consider under the formatting area is a custom HTML block, and that's exactly what it sounds like. It's basically an HTML block where you can enter anything in you want. A paragraph tag, an H3 tag, an image tag. This is a paragraph. And if you know HTML, you're able to use that. If I click preview, well then that's what it looks like. Once again, I'm going to delete that block and click the plus symbol again. A code block allows you to add a certain style of block where you can enter what looks like code. This is really handy if you're putting out the kind of blog where you need to actually put JavaScript snippets or PHP snippets like the one I have here into your post so people can copy it, but it's not going to get rendered by WordPress. Really handy. Again, not necessarily what we're looking for with our Princess Bride post, but handy nonetheless. Lastly, a pull quote is a large quote that can appear somewhere on your page. So as opposed to the one we did up here, which is a block quote, this is a much larger block that gets some good padding around it and really makes it stand out. Once again, you can make it the full width of the post or left or right justified. I'm going to quickly remove my code block by clicking on it and remove that block, and then update. And let's take a look. Once again, the formatting of this quote is governed by our theme. And so that's a quick overview of the formatting blocks available to you in your WordPress posts or pages. As we continue down our exploration of the block layout system in WordPress, next on the list is layout elements. Layout elements are really neat. One of the things you can do is actually build pretty sophisticated layouts that are truly responsive right here within the WYSIWYG editor. So I'm going to add a block for columns. When I click on that block over on the right-hand side, you can see that I can set up my block. I can make it 3 columns, 4 columns, 5 columns. That gets a little ridiculous. But what I can do here as well is click and drag this particular block and drag it right into my 2-column block. And that's pretty slick. So blocks can be dragged around and placed. So above that, I'm going to again drag that cast and crew down. And then I'm going to add some more members of the crew in the right-hand side. Right now, I'm going to just type in Andre the Giant, and I'm going to change that to a list. and then continue typing. And we could go on and on and on, of course. Let's add another block. You'll notice I click down there instead of going back up to the top. Let's add a media and text box. Once again, I can choose an image out of my media library, or I can upload a new file. Now, just as a reminder, these images I'm just stealing off Google. You probably ought to not do that for your real website. And I'm going to put in cover art. Once again, always adding good alt text. Click select, and there we have it. Let's add some content. This is the cover for the video DVD of the movie. And let's click update. Now, one of the interesting things here, when I click on the block, you'll notice over here I've got a new setting. Everything here on the right-hand side is always contextual. I can actually update and change the background of this particular block. Actually, going with any color I want. That's pretty ugly. Let's stick with that one. You'll notice that the text color is smart enough to know that it should be white or dark, depending on the color of the background. That's pretty awesome. And let's view our post. And there's our Princess Bride cover and text. Another block to add in this section is the read more. And this is, of course, important. You don't want the post archive page to go on and on and on and on. So I'm actually going to click here and click add a block. Scroll down, find layout elements, and click the read more. So it placed the block right above. That's pretty smart. So now if I click update and I go to my site, you'll see that now I have a read more. Perfect. The last layout element I want to talk about is a button. There's others here, of course, and you can play with them as much as you want. But I'm going to add a button here, just as simple as that. And over here on the right, I've got background color and text color. Paste the URL for the button. I can center it. I can click in it and click me for more information about this movie. And then put the link to IMDb or whatever down there. And that's the URL for this movie. Click apply. And now that link will be applied to this button. I want to give it some contrast here. So in the background, I'm going to go for black. That's really bold. So under the layout elements, then you have a number of options to add some great features to every post you create. In this last video on the new block layout and editor, I'm going to cover widgets and embeds together because widgets is pretty simple. You can add any widget into a post in any position on your layout just by clicking and adding it. And there's your latest post. You can make it in a list or in a grid, and it's right there embedded in the post. This can be really, really great and really helpful. Now you'll notice over here on the right, I've got my latest post settings. If I want to just make it events, well, then you'll see just the latest post from that category. And I can change a few of these options, like what the order is, how many items to display, and whether I want to show the date or not. That's a really helpful feature, and it's one of the widgets that's built into WordPress. As you build more widgets, they'll all become available right here inside your block layout tool. How cool is that? All right, finally, the embed tool. This is just mind-boggling. It's so amazing. You can embed anything from any of these. And of course, we don't have time in this video series to cover all of them. Let me just show you a simple YouTube embed. So I'm going to click on YouTube, and all I need is the URL. I'm going to paste that in and click embed. How simple was that? Now you'll note with this particular theme, again, I can make this full width. That doesn't work with every theme, and this option will disappear depending on the theme you're using. But for this one, I'm going to make it full width because I think that's really cool. And I'm also going to come back up here and make this full width because, again, I think that's just really cool. Click Update, View Post. And now I've got an amazing post. And there it is. One of my favorite clips. We could actually spend a little bit more time making this a little bit cleaner. But to be honest, this was so simple and so quick, you'll be able to create fantastic layouts like this in no time at all using WordPress's block layout tool. One of the great things about this tool as well is that you can reuse blocks. Let's say we wanted to be able to reuse this block styling in a lot of different places. Well, I just click on it, click on the three dots and say, Add to Reusable Blocks. You'll also note that I can duplicate it, but I'm going to add it to Reusable Blocks and I'm going to give it a name. More movie information. And click Save. So now I have a reusable block that I can place anywhere I want. Let's go over to that other movie that we had, another movie night in the park, and it's Forrest Gump. So I'm going to click plus, and I'm going to come down to Reusable. This is a new item because we just saved one. And I'm going to select More Movie Information. There it is. And now all I have to do is edit it. Change the URL, save it, and we're good to go. It's that simple to create a library of reusable blocks across all of your WordPress site. Well, thanks for joining me for this section in the Beginner's Guide to WordPress. During this section, we introduced you to WordPress. We installed WordPress both on your own computer or on a web host, and then we did a quick overview of the dashboard, but then dove right in to the most important part of getting started, and that's content. We explored the brand new block layout tool, and we added blocks of all kinds as we created the posts about our movie nights in Wordville. All right, well, I hope this has been helpful. The block layout tool in WordPress is fantastic. Take the time to go back and explore the new block layout tool as much as you want. Once again, I want to thank our friends over at Glowhost for sponsoring this video series. If you're looking for great hosting for your WordPress site, please check out glowhost.com.